So we're in your business math and we're on your quiz number 6. And some of this is a review for you to do, so you should be able to get this quiz. So basically looking at this, let's look at each one of these, what it is. So on your quiz it says an increase in assets. So if we have an increase in assets, I put up here so that you can calculate this out easier, ACED, which means assets, cost of goods sold, and expenses. And if any of these three things go up, you're going to have a debit. If these go up, they're going to have a debit. Now, if the other three things, this is capital liabilities kind of go together, and income. If any of these things go up, capital liabilities and income, you're going to have a credit. So I just want you to remember that this is kind of important, because otherwise you got to think, what is this? So an increase in assets, if the assets go up, look up here, the assets go up, it's going to be a debit. Okay, let's go on to the next one. So an increase in income is the click one, income goes up, it's going to be a credit. Decrease in, now if you decrease, it's going to be the opposite. So decrease in expenses, of course, here we have expensive, it's going to decrease in expenses. If it decreases in expenses, it's going to be the opposite of a debit, it's going to be a credit. So on to increase in liabilities, number 4. So if it increases in liabilities, of course it's click, increase of the liabilities would be a credit. So when you have increases, it's just going to go exactly by this. But if you have decreases, it's going to go opposite. So decrease in capital. So if you decrease in capital, here we have the click. So decrease in capital here, decrease in capital. And this last thing is credit. So ends with credit. So it's going to be the opposite, because you're decreasing the opposite of credit. It's going to be a debit. So on to number 6, decrease in the cost of goods. So the cost of goods, of course, is cost of goods is going to be ACE, debit, right? So basically cost of goods is going down. So since it's going down, it's not going to be a debit, it's going to be the opposite, which is a credit. So hopefully you got those. Now this here, number 7, you're gonna do this, go ahead and do this yourself. It's just showing your grade school capabilities, I guess. But also these are kind of hard when you're doing them. You can make mistakes, make one mistake and the whole problem's wrong. But anyway, so this is how you do a multiplication, as I did, and I'll show you, would be 5 times 8 is 40, carry the 4, 8, 12, carry the 1, 48, 49, carry the 4, and then 16 plus 4, of course, is 20, carry the 2, and then we have 8 times 4 is 32, with 2 is 34, carry the 3, and then you have 8 times 3 is 24, plus 3 is 27. So you write that in. The next you put your indent here, of course, and then you put 5 times 4 is 20, carry the 2, and you put the 2 above the 4 so you know which one you're on. And so then you go 4 plus 2 is 6, so 24, let's see, where was I? No, 4, 4 plus, so 24, but don't put the 1 there because there's nothing there. So that'd be a 24, carry the 2, just go the top ones. So carry the 2, and so you have 4 times 2 is 8, 9, 10, carry the 1, 4 times 4, 16, 17, carry the 1, and then we have 4 times 3 is 12, you carry the 1, so it's 13. So then you go ahead and add these numbers. So just so you know how to multiply. Now here we have a number 8. I hope you know how to do that. So that was that one. You got all that one. Hope I got it on your video. On to number 8 here. In all that you do, if you're adding, subtracting right now, on the tests and quizzes, you have to put all of this work here. You can't use a calculator. So they want to know that you know how to do this, So here we have 16,000 minus 9,432. Oh, wait, yeah, 432. This is your decimal point. So just to know on these, of course, you're going to go over here and you're going to borrow. You go all through the zeros. You're going to borrow here. And so this changes to a 5. Change this 9, just 9, this 9, all the way this 9, and then put a 10 here. So then you say 10 minus 4 is 6. 9 minus 8 is 1. 9 minus 2 is 7. 6, 5. And then here we have 15 minus 9 is 6. And so that's your answer. Just so you know how to borrow. On to number 9. You're going to have some of these on the test too. So here we have just addition. They just want you to know how to group addition of these. So this is 9 and 8. I put down it basically is 17, and then 9 plus 3 plus 1 is 13. So I put 17 plus 13. So I have is 30. So I put 0 down, 30. Now 14 plus 3 is 17, and then on to 17 and 14. So which we have, we'll have 31, carry the 3, and then do the rest of these on this side too. So you know, so I hope you know how to do this. Basically, you're grouping together and adding. So you group together however you want to do it. You know, you group together, like this would be 9, and this would be 9 is 18, plus 1 is 19. So anyway, that was, you want to know how to do that. So now the last one, of course, you don't like doing these. Neither do I. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take 687. What we look at here, we think 6 goes into 46 how many times? Because it's going to go up here. It's going to be 6 goes into 46 how many times? Well, you know, 6 times 7 is 42. So what I did basically is I tried 187, and you can write down, make sure you write these up here too, so see what you tried. I tried 687 times 7 here, and I got 4809. It was too much. So then I tried 6 right here, 687 times 6, which is 4122. Yep, that works. So I put 6 up here, 4122. And then subtracted that, and I got 56, or basically subtracting this 563, and then I bring the 3 down. So now I say 6 goes into 56 how many times? Well, we know 9 times, but it's 87, so it's probably 9's not going to work. So let's try 8. You know, so up here again, so I wrote, you know, write this out. 687 times 8, and that's 5496. So 5496 goes right here, 5496, subtract that, I got 1374. So how many times does 6 go into 13? Well, let's try 2. So right here I tried 2. 687 times 2 is 1374. Yep, it turns, so the answer is going to be 682 right here. So that's great. That's your quiz number 6. Let's go over quiz number 7. I think there's just 7, then we'll go over the test. So, sorry, my broom go there. Quiz, start up here. Hopefully this isn't all on here. So you use your, it says, using your accounting skills, you're going to make these T's, that means transaction accounts, which are going to be, you know, the debit and credit accounts for the debit and credit entries. So I put up here again, I put my little thing up here so you know how to do it. ACE would be accounting, cost of goods sold, and expenses, and they're all going to be debits unless if they're increased, they're all going to be debits. If they're decreased, they're all going to be credits. So then I have the second group was CLIC, which is capital and liabilities, starts with that, and income. And so basically those, if they're increased, going to be credit. And so if they're opposite, it'll be debit. So just to know, I put this up there so I'm doing this, I can figure this out, because it's not that easy to, you know, in the midst of this. So hope you're seeing this on there, okay? So here we go. Oh, let's do number 1 here. So we have Welco paid $14,000, or wait, no. Paid, yeah, $14,500 in cash for a delivery truck, about the time. So we're going to have, it's going to fit into 2 categories, because you're always going to have for each entry, you're going to have a credit and a debit. So 14,500 in assets was increased because now you got a truck. So I put 14,500 in debit. That's the asset. But also you had to pay cash. So your asset for cash is down. So when your asset of cash goes down the opposite the way, it's going to be the opposite. It will be a credit because the asset went down to 14,500. So let's go on to the next one. Welco paid in cash. It's 13 full-time employees, each got $523 each, and their 9 part-time employees got $287 each, right? So Welco paid in cash these. So since there's 13 and 9, you have to do your, and you got to do your work here. So you have 523 times 13 employees, and here I did that. 523 times 13, you go ahead and make sure you, like 12, carry the 1, which is 4, 9, 6, 15, write it down, and then of course 5, 2, 3, 1, 4, because it's all by 1, and then we got basically 6,882 cents. So that's part of it. Now they had to pay your part-time employees too, and there were 9 of them. So this is what we paid. They paid them, and so go ahead and, 9 times 2, 18, carry the 1, 10, carry the 1, and 14, basically 9 times 7 is 63, 64, carry the 6, 72, plus 6 would be 78, carry the 7, and then we have 9 times 2 is 18, plus 7 is 25. So now we have this, and now we have to add them together. So here I added them together. Put your work, add them together. Basically keep doing your carrying. I got 9,384.90 right here. Okay, so now we have this 9,384.90 that we paid in wages. So now we have to do the T. So we do the T, 1 debit, 1 credit. And so first of all, it's expenses. So remember that we have expenses go up, right? And so that means it's a debit. So this is a debit. So we put it on the debit side and make sure you label it, wages, expenses. Now the next is the for cash, because we had to pay them out of our cash. So our cash account goes down. So our cash assets would be what? So you have, again, asset, A-S-E-D, and your asset is going down of your cash. So it's going to be opposite than debit. So it's going to be what? Credit. So you put this on credit. See how each one has 2 different ones? Now on this, we have a wages expenses for $9,384.90, and then we have a credit. So we have a debit and a credit for each problem. And that's what you're going to find. You'll have a debit and a credit for each problem. See that? So let's go on to number 5 and 6. So Welco paid off a bank loans of $17,200 in cash. So they're paying out $17. This one we don't have to do any calculations like that other one. So in cash. So we're going to make a T. And so notes payable. Anytime you have a note payable and you have to pay, it's going to be a liability. And basically, the notes payable says paid off the bank loan. So the liabilities are going to go down because you paid it off. So liabilities down. Of course, I go by this click here. Liabilities go down. It's going to be opposite than credit. So you're going to put it on the debit side. It's always debit and credit, like Washington, D.C., D.C., okay? So, and now it also, because you paid off the bank loan, you had to pay cash for it out of your account, right? So if you had to pay cash for it out of your account, basically it's going to be what? It's going to be an asset that's going down. So an asset that's going down, if the A goes down, then it's going to be not debit, it's going to be the opposite, which would be credit. So we put it under credit. So. And this would be cash asset. This is how you label it. This we label notes payable and liabilities going down, so make sure you have the right label. Number 7 and 8 actually. Wilco returned 43 barrels to its suppliers. The supplies were paid were $34.50 in cash for each barrel. Okay, each barrel's the thing. We have 43 barrels, we have to times that. So here's my work, and you can put this work in. $34.50 times 43. So if you do this, and basically each one, this is working this out, you get what? You get $1,483.50 for the barrels. So now you have assets of barrels, of course. So you have, first of all, you have the cash assets that you had to pay for them goes down. Our assets, I mean, actually this is a trick question because it doesn't go down. Wilco returned, it's a return. That's why I did that. Instead of paying you, they returned you money. So now your assets are going up because you have more money in your account, right? So if you're, see how I made a mistake because I didn't do the return? I almost did it again. So now the return, you have cash assets and you had a return. So basically the cash assets goes up, and so you're going to have what? A debit. So it's on the debit side. So this one here, cost of goods. So again, they were returned. So as they're returned, the supplies paid $34.50 in cash for each barrel. So the cost of goods and merchandise went down. And so as this went down, you're going to have a debit on this side and credit on this side. So you have this ACED, right? You have cost of goods, but cost of goods actually went down. So it's not going to be a debit, it's going to be the opposite. So you put it on the credit side. Okay. One more, or actually two more, 9 and 10. Let's go over these, see if you can see this. So Wilco received $25,000 in accounts, and accounts receivable. So they're receiving money in. So when you're receiving money in, you know that your assets are going to go up right away for the merchandise sales, right? So you also know your income is going to go up too. So there's two different things. So basic, we have accounts receivable, and we put assets. So if the asset goes up, so the asset is right here, and it's going up, you're going to have it on the debit side. So when the asset, accounts receivable, asset, you're going to, the debit's going to be $25,000. So, but now on the income is what? Click, remember? So income is going to go, the income's going to go up too. But if the income goes up, then it's a credit. Because the income goes up, then it's credit. So it's on the credit. So we have one is on the debit side, the asset is on the debit, one asset or one income is on, and make sure you put the T, merchandise sales income. So that's just it for the quizzes. So then we'll start your test.